But he was born of this world. He was born of all the mothers and the colors of our brothers and the love that was taught to you by the one they called Jesus Christ. He may not know no rock and roll, and there may not be a heaven or a place of which to send you, but you know in the end there's madness in a song. There's a madness in a song. There's a madness in a song. There's a madness in a song. So who broke the rules? Who broke the rules? Who broke the rules? They said every one of you will never try to lend a hand when the policemen don't understand. Oh, tell you
17-fold on our freeradio.org. And those other people out in Scranton. I swear I'll get your name one of these
Indie
days.
Authority. Come on.
Indie Authority. I'll get it, man. I'll get it.
It's our first show.
I adapt slowly to change. It's one of my many problems in life. So at any rate, I'm still Mike Liberty. He's still Dave Death. And that's still the Ruthless Truth Fist Suarez. So you boys ready to get Syria?
Yeah, let's get Syria.
All right. What, where do we even begin on this nonsense? It seems, I don't know. I know I've been fishing, so I've been out of the loop for the last few months, but it seems like Syria was like front and center a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, and then it kind of like faded, and now it's back full force.
Well, because it switched to ISIS, because Syria was in the middle of civil war, and then all the attention went to ISIS. And
there was
now,
a few other things. Trayvon Martin popped up at that same time.
Oh, yeah.
When they were going through that whole conflict initially, too.
But now ISIS has finally reached Syria. And now there's a lot of ISIS movement going on in Syria. Civil war's heating up. You got Russia sending troops there. The U.S. is there. Everybody's there fighting. And people are being displaced.
Which seems like everything that was going on 2 years ago, the last time we looked, it's like the exact same headlines.
Well, 2 years ago was when they had that chemical attack, when they said the government dropped sarin gas on the revolters. And when that was investigated by the UN, it proved it was actually the rebels who had the sarin gas. So right there, that's a coup that I really don't believe that we should be involved in if it's coming down like that. Something's being played to make this thing further, and now we're at the stage where we're at, where there's a lot of people in serious danger trying to escape some crazy stuff that they didn't have anything to do with. But what do we do?
Exactly, and that was, we've talked about this before. So, let's rewind a couple years, and let's pretend that the U.S. got involved immediately a couple years ago. We weren't already mired over there. And
well, that's the thing, we couldn't. We were about to, once we found out that it wasn't the state that did that sarin gas, then we held back. And then media's been playing with it like the line was drawn and we didn't react, and now we're appearing weak.
And I don't even know what could or couldn't means anymore. You know what I'm saying? Congress is supposed to be the only way that we can declare war and go and have, warlike activities against another country. We ain't done that since World War II.
No, we pick and choose. That's
exactly.
The whole thing.
So let's just play this little thought game, though. We go back in time a few years. The U.S. gets involved immediately. Boots on the ground. Liberate the people. March on the Capitol. Shock and awe. Yada, 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 right? Today, what are the headlines? It's exactly what we saw in Iraq. It's the U.S. is responsible for all these civilian deaths, the heavy hand of the U.S. Why don't they just stay out of it?
Well, imagine how ISIS would have ran with that. ISIS being what it is now, could you imagine if we had been on the ground 2 years ago when ISIS came up? It would have been insane.
Well, ISIS would have just been the corollary to all the militias that we had in Iraq 8 years ago. It would have been the exact same thing. It would have been this splinter militant movement of hardcore Muslims, kind of stirring the pot and throwing off our plans. So the point that I wanted to make, though, in all of that was we didn't do any of that, right? We stayed at arm's length. We might have thrown some missiles, and we might have talked tough and
we
some
played
sabers.
around. We supported the wrong people in every engagement we've ever had with the Middle East, and it's come back to bite us in the ass.
Right. So the flip side is now you've got millions of refugees, civilians, dying. So it seems like either way, the United States, by virtue of this position we've put ourselves in as Superman to the world, we're damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't.
Exactly. All right, so let's talk about that damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's a lot of countries who are actually taking in the refugees. I think, even Canada.
Right. I want to say Lebanon is the number one. Lebanon and Turkey, I think, are the top two.
I want to say I think Turkey's the top one. Turkey has 1.9 million that they've taken in. Lebanon 1.1 million. Jordan 629,000.
Jordan from New Kids on the Block?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got a
big
huge
house.
mansion.
He's a
Charles.
philanthropist, if nothing else.
Well, once the Funky Bunch moved out, he had all kinds of room for
well,
refugees. Who
Mark
knew?
Wahlberg rolls mad deep.
You know,
Iraq has 249,000 that they've taken in. Egypt. I mean, it goes.
Wait, I'm
it goes
sorry.
down. It goes on. Even Germany. I guess they set up camps for them to go and stay
Have
in.
a shower. How fucked up is it, by the way, when we live in a world where Iraq is in a position to lend a helping hand to anybody?
no, not in years.
But here's what I thought was interesting, though. Now look at the Gulf countries and what they're doing. Saudi Arabia. Guess how many?
None.
None. Kuwait.
Same.
None.
Dubai. United
all the
Arab
states
Emirates.
with spoons
None.
don't want the refugees because they want them gone.
So yeah, the Persian Gulf states are doing nothing
And
about
see,
it.
and this brings me back. That's the problem. You say, why is the United States policing the world? It seems because nobody else will. And you
But
can go
is it-
back. You
Yeah,
can
but
go
if we
back
were
to the-
truly policing the world, there'd be a lot of other things we'd be talking about besides this, too. We pick and choose what we want to get into for whatever gains that are in our best interest, is the long and short of it.
Well, but aren't our own best interests a valid operating system? You know, I mean,
Well,
as a nation,
our own best
don't we-
interests were putting up puppets back in the day, and the people revolted against that, and that's what gave birth to the Arab Spring.
Oh, so now, I mean, now you're talking though. You're talking the root of this problem.
Right,
You know,
but-
you're going back to 1948 with the foundation of Israel,
We're still dealing with the same problem.
and you're going
It's the
back.
same
If you
problem.
don't start with the root, you don't get that apple.
You're going back to post World War One when all of the Eurocentric powers that be carved up the map and started creating nation states out of
Exactly.
out of these disparate tribes and created
the
things
British
like
and
Iraq.
the French, and then once they decided what their borders were going to be, they dropped all these religions into one pile where the supposed Christian and Judeo religions were based, just to keep that conflict going. Why? Because it wouldn't be happening in their states, near their continents, and near their cities. Let them battle it out. And now, you know, the whole view of how we're running the world is changed, basically due to the light of enlightened people. I don't mean enlightened people like there's so many of us that we're doing the right thing, but people know. They watch the news, they go overseas, they check shit. There's travel, people are writing books, and people are reading these books. But this whole situation, like I said, if we weren't stirring pots back in the day that
We
we
shouldn't
forgot
have been.
about, they're overboiling now. We need to kill the stove and fucking
Well,
clean up the mess.
And to your point of how situations are viewed and powers that be, when Dave and I were talking earlier today about this was going to be the topic for the show, my reaction was, you start talking about this, my eyes glaze over. I kind of feel like, not that none of it matters. I'm not saying the death of refugees and civilians doesn't matter. My point is, when you want to start picking this whole thing apart, how real is any of it? You talk about puppet regimes, and I said to Dave, you could bring in a Marine from Damascus this morning who was deployed, looking at Syria through a rifle scope, and whatever, he could tell us his experiences, but how real are they? He doesn't even know what he's really doing there. You
He
could
just
bring
knows
in-
what he's told.
He knows what he's told. You could bring in President Obama, and it would be the exact same thing. He's higher up the food chain, sure.
Right.
But he only knows what he's being told. And so for me, when you start talking about all this stuff, it becomes, well, unless we're going to get the head of the Bilderberg group in here and start talking some truth, then everything else that we're talking about is just, it's nebulous. It's fluff. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't hold water, which is discouraging. You know, like I said, global matters, even local matters, unless you're talking so granular, your town that you can actually go and put your hands on it. How real is any of it? How real are these refugees? How much is Russia really on the move with military forces in Syria? How much do the Russian soldiers know about all that? Or is it all just smoke and mirrors?
Are they even there?
That's exactly.
Are they even there?
Or is this all just a risk board in
Well,
Nelson
if you look
Rockefeller's
at it, it's
chess
pretty much
room?
how it's being played. Mm-hmm. It seems like a real delicate game of chess, but the only problem is that the people